Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. A reminder, of course, as always, there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about these markets. And what a weekend we're going to be able to talk about with you guys. What an upcoming week we have ahead. It's funny. It's funny because I want to say when we were finishing up on either Thursday or Friday, I was talking about how unremarkable the week had been, and wow, I mean, what a weekend. What a weekend. I don't want to get too much into it before I do the like shill, but you guys know exactly what I'm going to say here in just a second. But real quickly, I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by our full panel today, Tucker, Max, Will, and Jackus. Welcome, guys. But real quickly, before we start cooking, before we start breaking down where we think the crypto markets are headed next, we're going to need you guys to smash that like button. First day of the week, brand new slate. A lot of altcoins wiped their open interest slate almost completely clean. And with that, we would love if you guys could hit the like button here before we get started. It's going to be a great show. I mean, there's just no way that it's not going to be a great show after, because I just know we're going to be able to look through the charts from this past weekend. We're going to be able to laugh at the carnage, maybe cry a little bit if it was your bags, but I'm hoping by the end of it we have a pretty clear idea of where the markets are headed next. But I mean, this weekend was wild. There's really no other way to put it. Bitcoin wiped out billions in OI, altcoins wiped out billions in OI, even that stagnant OI in altcoins that you often see that is. People are just 2 to 3x levered long altcoins very casually, and they think that they can ride it to Valhalla. And ultimately, that was not the case because this is a very volatile market at the end of the day, a very volatile asset class. And with that volatility, it comes weekends like this past one where Bitcoin barely sneezes a few K and altcoins literally die, right? Like they die. They went down 50, 60%. Within a week. It was pretty gnarly, but I mean, really, the commentary that I can provide is that we've completely reset funding. We've wiped billions and billions in open interest off the face of the planet, and Bitcoin is still trading at 64K. So contextually, I mean, it goes without saying a range breakdown would be very, very disastrous for altcoins, given what we saw this weekend. But at the same time, this is kind of what you would want to see from a flush standpoint into range lows, especially on the back of, I mean, there's a big elephant in the room as far as, traditional markets go, and that is the Iran-Israeli conflict. I'm not going to touch on anything with that. I just think the market positioning around this event is going to be fascinating to watch because as we've already seen, yesterday or Friday, that is, we had a huge spike in volatility that was driven from people hedging. Today, we've had a huge crush in volatility. So I think it's still, maybe the jury's out as far as how the news is being perceived, not just in TradFi, but also in crypto. So this is a very, very big week. I think Tucker said it on our Giga Chad call this morning. You really want to pay attention to legacy markets this week because any sneeze over in TradFi would probably not be the best for crypto. And I'm just going to continue to use the framework that we had over the weekend and really last week as our barometer of that. But I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for you guys. I'm sure everybody's got a whole lot that they want to talk about on this show, and I can't blame you. This weekend was pretty ferocious, all things considered.
Yes.
You go, Max.
You want me to go? Okay. Yeah, wow, guys, what a weekend. What a weekend. I got back from Florida. I've been working really hard. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna enjoy my weekend, with my family and just take a little downtime. And then my phone starts blowing up and every trading view, ding was just going crazy, man. And it's like no weekends off, man. No time off. You don't get a break. But that's okay. I love working. I love it. Here's the deal. I actually think what we've seen, at least from when we're addressing the derivatives data, right? When we're addressing the funding reset, when we're addressing the OI wipe, the aggregated liquidations, it's fantastic, right? Like that's exactly what you want to see in a bull market as long as we are still in a bull market, which by the way is my belief that we are very much so still in a bull market and this is a healthy part of that process. You go back and you look at what happened last cycle, this happened a half dozen times, where Bitcoin and ETH will sneeze 25 to 35% off of their local highs and altcoins literally they end up 6 feet under, and then they bounce back even harder, right? And it's just a part of the process, and it's certainly not that fun, because it's way more fun when things just go straight up in a straight line. But you have to recognize the importance of clearing up the books, one might say. I will also note that every notable bottom, basically going back all the way until end of 2022, we've seen more or less the same thing. Open interest for Bitcoin completely flushes, like almost entirely. You see funding dip slightly negative just for a quick moment, and you see 9 figures of liquidations. And what have we seen so far from this flush? Where funding did in fact go slightly negative, we cleared up basically all of the open interest, and we saw cumulatively almost 200 million in liquidations for Bitcoin. So it's like we are seeing, in fact, all of the familiar signs of a liquidation cascade that historically has marked higher time frame bottoms, which have then in the following weeks and months led to significantly higher prices. So is this time different? Is this time the same? Time will tell, but the signs are most certainly there. And I think that Tommy would probably agree that we are seeing familiar signs for previous bottoms where, as long as things don't get too much worse, what we've seen has happened before and it has historically been a bottom signal. But
yeah, man, looks like they almost got him. They almost got him.
Look, let me tell you guys something, all right? I put the mask on, all right? President Biden with mask, because a lot of you are looking pretty contagious over here talking about lower, right? And I got to make sure I don't catch whatever you guys are catching. I got to make sure I eat my protein, because you're looking pretty weak. You're talking about war. You're talking about fractals of pandemics. Like, come on. The environment is completely different. Completely different. Example A, right? What were interest rates during the pandemic? 3.38. What are interest rates right now? Well above that. We haven't even got our first cut, right? The environments are drastically different. Not to mention treasuries and everything else, right? And as long as treasuries remain up here in this high range on the 2 year, there ain't no way. There's absolutely zero chance you're going to get some kind of, you know, weird freaking, anomaly, right? Like people sit here and they talk about black holes as if they're common. They're not common, people. Like you have to like use your brain a little bit, right? Walking down the sidewalk and find $100 bill is not common. Your whole black swan is not common. You're betting on the most ridiculous stuff I've ever seen. Like I see a dip, I buy, right? I don't just buy. I go and I look for the riskiest shit I can put in my portfolio and I buy it. Because this is a bull market. It is what it is, right? If you can't handle volatility, shoot, I mean, one of my wallets yesterday was at 113K. It's at 85K today. Most of you be crying on the floor, ready to cut it off because your portfolio dropped that much.
oh man.
It doesn't even make any sense to me. Like people are sitting
Hey.
here just whining over the most ridiculous. Look, the market's going up, whether you want it to or not. That was an OI flush. It's not hard to understand. It's an OI flush. That's all it was, and it may sit here and hover, but it's not hovering to flush more. It's hovering to suck you into shorts, so they can take your money. That's what it's hovering for. And it may even bleed a little bit. Why? Because guess what? You're going to come in with shorts. Did you come in with shorts 75K? No. Because you absolutely like the conviction level of people is insane. It's like if you were that bearish, short 75K. If you are that bearish, short 75, nobody wanted to short 75K. But hey, we're at 63. Let's short the market. Makes tons of sense. Absolute. You drop 10K, you instantly open shorts. Makes sense. Like this market blows my mind. I could see why there's a lot of inexperienced traders in this market. I can absolutely see it. They've never traded TradFi, and TradFi moves like a grandpa in comparison. That's the crazy part. TradFi moves like a grandpa, but most of you are sitting here acting like this game is hard. This game moves way faster, way faster. So that means like your drops recover extremely faster. Your pumps, they drop extremely faster. That's what we call volatility. Volatility is much more relevant in crypto than what it is in stocks. You want to see pain? Watch a stock literally drop for 5 years before you see any profit. In crypto, it's literally like 5 days. That's the difference. Like all it is it tests your will and it tests your ability to understand. Like going deeper doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter. Go as deep as it wants. I'll just keep buying down. I got shoes to sell. I can make a yard sell. I can stop eating ice cream every day. This is just the market we live in. Like stop being babies and talking about just the most stupidest shit I've ever heard of. Like Twitter is honestly the most ridiculous. Like I don't even want to operate on there anymore. It's so ridiculous.
Delete your Twitter, Will.
Believe me,
You should
I'll
do that.
probably
Will. You should delete your Twitter. You should do it.
Do it. Oh man.
My God, man. I feel like most people live in Bangkok. I'm just saying, man. Most of you live in Bangkok.
What do you guys think here? Bearish New York Open? Who could have foreseen? I mean, every New York Open they do this. Oh man.
Hong Kong literally just passed an ETF for Bitcoin as a freaking store of reserve. Like, come on, people. What are the
What,
two biggest
today?
countries? Yeah, yeah. Like literally at 6 a.m. this morning. You can look it up. Just go look up Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF. They opened 3 of them this morning.
Did we get the ETH BTC deviation, bro? Maybe.
The point being is, what are the 2 biggest countries in the world by dollar? It's China and the U.S. Who just opened ETFs? China and the U.S. for Bitcoin. Like, how can you be bearish?
China.
Bro, like, I'm mind boggled. I'm mind boggled by people. Do you remember this stuff,
But,
Max?
but,
When they
but
were
Will,
saying,
you understand that people, I mean, you've been in markets for a while. Days like today can be very scary for people that don't have as much experience. You recognize that, of course, right? You know.
I do, Max. But
You were once there as well, where you were a beginner and markets pulled back and you didn't understand why, and you were probably nervous as well, right? At one point.
It's different being nervous than feeding the fire, right? And I see a lot of people feeding the fire. What's it mean? Passing notes, talking about war, passing this, passing that, like trying to keep it going, hoping that they can create some kind of systemic drop, which isn't going to happen. None of us have the power to do that. The market's going to do what it does, regardless of what we share with each other.
No, Nomad says, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, they were making fun of Nomad on Friday, and then the market nuked.
Just
Really?
everyone, PSA, stop making fun of Nomad. Leave that man alone. Please do not antagonize Nomad, whatever you do. All right, because he actually can tank the market. He's shown that he can do that. So if you want to make fun of somebody, come make fun of me. That's fine. Leave Nomad out of it. Okay. Leave him alone. Leave that man out of it. All right. Don't fuck with him. He'll ruin your chart. He will do it. I've seen him do it. Leave Nomad alone. Thank you.
And I do agree, Max. Like, I may sound insensitive in some ways, but like,
No, Will,
if
never.
if you have no clue or you haven't been trading long enough, like just leave it alone. Walk away. Don't sit here and try and share propaganda, BS, and stuff that you don't understand. And I'm saying this to all market participants. Like, don't get involved with that shit. Now, if the trend is different, then at that point you can start questioning everything. I will question everything if the trend switches, but the trend is still in favor of bull. It is. If you go back to, can you go to the top real quick, Tucker, and literally just outline your support and resistance on Bitcoin?
Oh my goodness, look at that. Good Lord.
You'll probably fill the wick halfway.
Not the exact bottom tick. God, why didn't I draw that? What?
Go to Bitcoin and just highlight the support and resistance straight across.
I mean, that's probably your support. This historically has been your resistance right
Go
here.
and drag it to the left a little more, but the whole point here is everything's playing exactly to what it should be. Like, we are literally just playing the range. That's it. You played the range. Like, if this scenario with the whole thing that everybody's talking about and clamoring about is real, we would have broken this range. But
well, yeah,
didn't.
it's like imagine getting like, chopped up in this garbage when the chart looks like that, right? Like,
Yeah, precisely. And if you go back to 40, go to the 40K range, you
yeah,
can
that
literally
too.
draw the same thing.
Yeah.
I think the alternative question for these alternative currencies is, if Bitcoin breaks this range low, where do they go? Because I feel like that would be pretty bad.
You're going to fill that entire flagpole. But you need
Bitcoin
to
would be, I mean, Bitcoin would be fine realistically, like within the trend, but altcoins would, I mean, I don't even want to know what altcoins would be doing at that point.
They're probably losing 60 to 70% of their value. It is what it is. My portfolio would go from 113K, and this isn't my whole portfolio. This is my shitcoin portfolio. It'll probably go down to like 30. I'm not worried.
Listen, if BTC goes lower, altcoins go 100% lower.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the records though. That's the difference between me and everybody else. And I do have Bitcoin and ETH that I can rotate if I need to.
Yeah, I mean, look, but here's my thing, guys. I do believe that we are, in my head, there's like a 60% chance that we've bottomed. And where I would ask for a little forgiveness with that comment is that we could maybe take out some of those wicks that have been set there on the lower time frame. But in my opinion, there is a 60% chance that we're bottom, 40% chance that you need to strap in. But I do think we are seeing, again, the signs of a bottom. Okay. And for one, Bitcoin doesn't look bad here, right? Altcoins have gotten massacred, which, by the way, is a very friendly reminder for everybody as we get deeper into this bull market that, Bitcoin is funding and open interest are kind of showing you that people are getting a little greedy, trying to force a breakout, into a hot level, and it doesn't work. Your altcoins are going to get massacred. And I think it's, as long as you didn't get liquidated, it's a friendly reminder. But in my opinion, we are seeing the signs of a bottom, mainly because we saw funding actually dip slightly negative towards the local low yesterday. And we saw over 100 million in forced liquidations, which, again, historically has marked bottoms. So I think it's pertinent to be careful, because if we start to see OI run up again here and people are trying to aggressively bid this thing and it doesn't work, then you're going to get another flush down. If they start to bid this thing hard, and it actually runs up, then great, right? Then it worked, but I think that we are safe here as of right now. To me, I'm seeing more reasons to be bullish here after what happened on the weekend, than I am to be fearful of us going significantly lower. I'm not talking about like your run of the mill altcoin. I'm really more so talking about Bitcoin and probably ETH. But Jackus is correct. Like if Bitcoin drops back down a little bit, your altcoins are gonna. I mean, your altcoins dying that's an understatement. Like they're gonna go down another 35% in a blink. You're gonna blink and they're gonna go down 35%. But if Bitcoin holds here and starts to move back up, alts are going to rip face on this bounce back up, because in my opinion, the stage has in fact been set for a Bitcoin dominance deviation into potential swing fail. So we'll see what happens. Like it's a very interesting inflection point in the market right now.
But Max,
So-
I feel. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead, Will.
No, Jack, because we haven't heard from you yet. Go ahead, please.
Yeah,
please.
wait.
But I wanted to hear Will finish up his cooking. He's on fire.
I just wanted to. I'll be quick. I just want to talk about this because this sounds very much to me like 25K 2.0. It really does. Because remember, we ran from 25 to 30, then 25 again. Everybody is talking about 22.20, and it never happened. We ripped off of that. Not to mention, if you looked up here when we were discussing this last week. We were discussing this last week, and Tommy, I remember you should remember this because you said this specifically when I said this, and that was I said we'll probably see a flush back to 61, and you said we probably don't look like we're going to go to 61. I said it'll probably be 61. Why did I say that? Because I basically stated that they were going to break this structure to make people feel like it wasn't going to hold.
I remember you saying that word for word, Will. I will give you that. I remember you saying that, and I was surprised that you said that because you're normally Mr. like, I'm bullish, don't even fucking question me. But I do remember you saying that exactly, that you could see them breaking the structure to serve as a bear trap. I do remember you saying that last week. Yes.
That's what that is, right? That's what
The
that's
double
what this
bottom, bro.
whole thing was. That's the break of the structure.
Yeah.
And they swept the wick. I don't know, man. I think this is the area though. Like you have to hold this. Like this fib and this trend line, like you gotta hold this, or else you're probably coming back to like this VWAP, if I had to guess. Like that's where it would probably go if you can't hold this. If you
At least. I mean,
Yeah.
losing this upper end range would be pretty bad for Bitcoin. Well, I mean, it really wouldn't be that bad. It'd be prices not seen on Bitcoin since probably like January or February, but altcoins would literally go back to the Stone Age. And that's,
But the
And
whole structure
additionally,
was great.
Tucker, if you look at that move that started in February, end of February, right there, that move was pretty inefficient, if we're being honest. Like, if you drew a volume profile from like, over all of that, I don't even want to do this because it's gonna paint a crappy picture, right? But to be fair, like if you drew a volume profile from there all the way through present, maybe even go back further to the left just a little bit. And can you change the color on that so we can see it blends in with your background quite a bit.
Oh my god.
Can you change the color on it so it's like white or something instead of
my bias?
Dude,
instead of black?
Is bad, man.
Change it to okay, so there's for sure an absence of volume between the point of control and by the way, that doesn't mean we need to go there now. To be clear, I could point out 100 different examples on the chart where when Bitcoin is, aggressively marking up in a bull market, you leave those gaps sometimes forever. I'm just saying that if we were to break down, that's going to be where it goes. It's going to go not all the way down to that point of control, in my opinion, but it would go down somewhere, maybe 55K. Okay. If we did break down, but as of right now, I am leaning towards us holding up here. But just to know, like, that's your level. And if that happened, every altcoin's going to die. So, but that doesn't mean that it can't resurrect. I'm just saying, like, we're just plotting this out. But my base case is, in fact, that we do hold up here. Okay. I'm not expecting us to go down there, but if we are being fair, why would you change that back to black, Tucker? Dear God.
Because it looks nicer.
Colors,
I don't like that aesthetic
your
at
chart
all.
colors will drive the most sane men in just crazy.
Hang on. All right, there you go.
I let it slide with
there
your
it
blue and your
is.
purple candles, and I don't like it, and I let it slide. But for you to change your volume profile to blend in with your background, Tucker, I can't let you get away with that.
It looks nice.
Blue and purple, brother. What in the world
You
are we
wouldn't get it.
doing
You wouldn't
here?
get it. It's the gift.
Dude, I don't get it. Genuinely, I don't get it. Neon blue and purple.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, I digress. There's an absence of volume on that move. In a raging bull market, you should leave that behind. And, who gives a fuck? It'll just keep moving up. If we are going to spend another couple of months ranging here, we're going to dip into that and we're going to fill that volume in. I don't think we'll go to the point of control, to be fair. I think that level's front run, but I think you'd come halfway in to that void there and fill it in. But that's not my base case. I'm just letting you guys know. That's not my base case.
Those are all your FVGs right there. So
yeah. Well,
you start digging into those.
Yeah, somebody in the waiting room.
Well,
oh my God.
Can't have two profiles.
Can't blame this one on Caroline.
No.
Altcoin's just dumped. But I will say, I mean, I think if you lose this level on Bitcoin structurally, I do not think it's far-fetched to say that you can see a 4 handle on Bitcoin.
Tucker, I need the chart.
Devastating.
Hang on.
We don't want to see that happen.
The only thing we need to do right now, is go to the soybean chart. The only thing that needs to be done is soybeans.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, it is really. It's upsetting. I need it 15 seconds. There we go. Guys, here we are. We're back here again. What do you know, right? What do you know? Guys, we have on YouTube alone 260 people watching, and we have 62 likes on the stream. Guys, I am insulted. I am upset. I am embarrassed. I am ashamed. Guys, the soybean chart is going nowhere until we can get at least to 100 likes. Guys, if you are here, if you are a market check enjoyer, we need you to take one quick moment and hit that thumbs up button, guys. It does wonders for the channel. It does wonders for our growth. And the reason we're growing so quickly is because you guys take a second out of your day while being a market check enjoyer and you smash that like button. Tucker, would you mind doing some TA or maybe putting on the super sniper?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So guys, Tucker's gonna do some propaganda here on the soybean chart on the 15-second, guys. I'm sorry, this is what it's come to. This is now because soybeans. Okay, this is no longer because Bitcoin. This is because soybeans, where we will talk about soybeans until we get an appropriate amount of likes. Guys, again, please just take one quick moment, hit that thumbs up button. Seriously, 265 people watching on YouTube, 100 likes. I want at least 120 likes before we get back to it. That means there's 160 of you right now that are listening to me speak these words going, nah, I'm not going to like anything. He can like his own video. Guys, I can't. I've already liked my own video. I can't do it again. I can't like again. I need you guys to do it. There's a lot of you out there. Additionally, the Twitter crew, you guys are not safe from the soybean chart either. There's hundreds of you guys watching on Twitter, if not thousands. I don't really even know how many because Twitter totally fluffs it up. But anyways, I know you guys are watching. You guys have a special function. You can not only hit the heart button, hit the like button, but you also have a retweet button. Guys, a retweet in my book is like 4 to 5 likes. If you really are enjoying the content, if you are enjoying the discussion, if you're tired of looking at the soybean chart on the 15-second time frame, not only hit that heart button on Twitter, but hit that retweet button. Guys, we are so appreciative of your guys' support on a daily basis. Do us a solid, help us grow, help push the content. Please like, please subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you. All right, let's see how we're doing on likes, guys. Let's see. 127. Let's go. We're back, Tucker. Back to crypto.
Whoa.
Boom. Thank you, guys.
Wow.
Back to crypto.
So
Can
That was
I
painful,
get the,
guys. That was painful, but we had to do it. Got to take our medicine. You know, we had to do it.
can I get the chart real quick? This is Caroline no stops. Does it not have no stop losses?
You got to take it, Will. You're going to take it.
Look, you guys have neutered my ability to be able to do anything. All right. So
There you go.
that's exactly what Caroline said.
Yeah.
all right. So I'm gonna point something out because I feel like it's obvious, but it's not obvious for everybody. So we'll just talk about it. All right. See this area right here. This is your structure break. You break this area, you're completely effed. You're going a lot lower, right? Again, above resistance became support, right? But this is your structure break. So you could set anywhere as you want above this range. This is your consolidation range, right? Between high, low, high, low, high, low. 25 to 30K. This is why I was screaming at the hills. 25K is going to hold. You had the double top high. You had the double top low. And look at that. Looks like it's exactly the same bottom, right? Exactly the same bottom. All right, move up to the next zone. High, low, structure break. Remember when we were talking about this and I was like, this is vertical accumulation. You can't break below it. What did it do? They stayed above it, right? Never violated below it, stayed above it, used it as an area of conflict, and they didn't want to go into it because they know if they break this, guess what? That's a structure break, right? And if your structure break happens, you're going a lot lower. Now we're up here at 65, 75K Bitcoin. Everybody keeps talking about 50K again. What do we see here? Oh, look at that. Another structure break. You break this area, you're going a lot lower. You can basically kiss a lot of this goodbye and you'll probably swoop into the previous range. To be real, you're not going to use it as support. You're going to absolutely violate this range if you come back down. And so what should expectations be here? Well, we've got 1 drive, 2 drives. You should be expecting 3 drives, right? So if we're expecting 3 drives, guess where we're going? Up here. Guess where we're not going? Down here. We're staying above this range unless this turns bearish. That's pretty much it. You're gonna trade sideways, you're gonna run up, you're gonna trade, and then you're gonna slide. Now I'm gonna break this into Elliot way.
So Will, you don't think that we could dip down into the 50s and be safe? You think if it went down there, it's over?
Yeah, I theoretically do. I'm just being real. Like I'm a bull telling you this. I think
for a while it would be over. It wouldn't be like over, but it would be over for a while.
Here's over.
Tommy, when you say a while, does that mean a year? Does that mean 3 months? What does that mean in your
like
opinion?
3 to 4 months before you see a move, like a significant move higher again. I mean, it's like you've seen this before with I forgot who broke it down when I was like just getting started, but taking crypto in almost like 3 to 4 month windows sometimes can be pretty useful. So it'd probably be, like a 2-3 month period of consolidation after a downtrend of that significance. And then we could start talking about, volatility coming back. But that's if we, break this range to the downside. I don't want to scare the hose if there's no reason to be scared yet.
Look, the problem is I think if you break here, you're looking at more than 3 to 4 months. You're probably looking at 6 months of downtrend and sideways or more, which means we'll line up with the traditional market, right? Like it means that Bitcoin will do what it's normally done. The problem is that everybody keeps talking about COVID and the sorry, shouldn't use that word, but the pandemic and all that good stuff. But all that occurred before the halving prior. We are now after the halving. So like people are trying to line up things that don't line up. And then in addition to that, if you break this range, that's okay. I know what's going to happen here, but theoretically, either you round out run or, once you break structure, you can just go back into another bear market. Like you don't have to come back up at that point. And this is what people keep on talking about. I think like this is really important to talk about, but I have a little bit more to cook here just to kind of add to this. I got some sauce I want to add in here.
The food's a little dry. So this right here, right? I'm gonna break this down in really simplistic terms for everybody who's watching. You had a 50% mark, right? This is your distribution. This is your accumulation. A lot of people don't even they don't even look at this for what it was, right? So your accumulation range is basically one leg. Accumulation range, distribution range right here. And then from here, this right here is going to be one leg. So when we talk about Elliott wave and we're spinning this, something that not everybody believes in, but that's okay. You have your run into a slide, right? It slides in into a run, into a slide.
Is that
into
the
a run.
Elliot fade? Is that the Elliot fade tool?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Look, the moons line up, everything lines up here, right? The soil metrics, everything here lines up with this.
You check
Fair
soil
enough
too?
pH in the soil.
I didn't know you were a fellow soil enjoyer, Will. That's fantastic,
So
man.
here's what I think for like our next move is something like probably relatively in here. We continue to hold the range like most people think is not going to happen. And then when we continue to hold the range, this is your 1, 2, 3 drive into your 3. You get your 4 slide. Your 4 slide can probably run. I don't think it'll violate previous high. So I think maybe somewhere's in like 80, something like that, because you're going to be really high here. You're going to be like 109, 119, something like that. And then you're going to wave up on 5, which 5 is going to be very similar to your 1, right? It's you always look for your 5th wave to kind of be similar to your 1 wave as far as distance. And you can see right there, the distance makes sense. And that puts you somewhere around 167, 592. And if we were to drop again, I don't even have a fib up, right? This is just experience. You come up here and you throw something like a fib into the range, and you pretty much almost line up with your high, your 1618 right there. And that's with you doing a full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up into the range. That's not me coming in and doing it on the whole lifespan of Bitcoin. That's literally me just looking at the impulse of a market, right? And you had a very similar thing here. You had basically this slide, right? Again, slide into this run, into the slide, into a run that couldn't really exceed the previous high because your drop was so far down that your wave here is still almost equivalent to your wave here. So if you were able to like take this, sorry, let me bring this over a little bit. If I can keep it from doing the craziest. Okay, I can't get the whole thing, but we'll just go from here to here because it keeps on acting up. And we'll just go like right in here because this is realistically where everything stopped. All this right here is just noise. And you were to drop this up, that's why the 5 didn't exceed the previous 3, because you basically made the entire move of your 1. And so you still had your 5 wave here. It was just a much deeper move because of this whole crap that happened here. If this never happened and we just ran from here, you would have a 1 into a slide up here into a 3, 4, and you probably have a higher 5. And that's why our 5 was so low, because of all this. This was the imbalance that created the imbalance up here. And now we're sitting here at the same juncture with a much healthier market, moving into an impulse move that's going to continue through and push us up into these higher ranges and end somewhere around 175K Bitcoin. Maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. We can guesstimate that top. But this is, again, like this is structure, right? This is structure. This is what structure looks like. And Bitcoin's one of the best advocates for structure. So the slide is just the long period of sideways chop. This is why I don't expect us to sit here that long, because I expect us to run one more time and then slide somewhere over here. And that puts us into November, right? That puts us into November of this year. And then from there, we're probably sitting somewhere up here around March. Then we might play the top again, like we did over here with these two. Again, your wave, right? Into another bear, into another bull. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that. That was a lot to take in, but
The only
Like, this
thing
is
I
what I'm looking
disagree
for.
with you on, Will, the only thing I disagree with you on is I do think it would be possible for us to go back down into the 50s and for us to still maintain market structure and be in a bull market. It wouldn't be fun. It would be painful. A lot of altcoins would get destroyed. We'd probably go back to kind of like a PvP on chain, like, shitter trading, hands, almost kind of like OTC illiquid environment for a while. But I don't think that would mean that like it's over, where you're thinking if we lost 60K, things would be bad. I don't agree with that. I think it would depend on the reaction largely, but everything else I agree with you on.
I think here's the thing. I think if we lost 60K, we're doing something like this. And that's going to be painful as hell.
What
That's
level
going
is
to be
that?
very painful. That would put us right in our red pocket, which would be the 786, which would put us around 49K.
When's the halving? Is it Saturday? Do we know?
Don't know the exact date.
Well, people are talking about a dip into, but they're not looking at what just happened. Like look at what just happened here. Like let's evaluate this real quick. This is a perfect double bottom, essentially, right? You can't get any more perfect than that on price. That's a perfect double bottom. What's the thought process of that going deeper from here when you got a perfect double bottom? And then on top of that, you basically, you got a double top up here, but this one did violate over here. Everybody's looking at this as a failed shoulder, but you got a perfect double bottom. This bottom should have been deeper. Bears were not able to perform here, right? They took the Viagra and they still weren't able to keep up.
I'm still not sure if I think it's a bullish structure yet. I mean, I felt more confident before the weekend, and I know that's easy to say after altcoins sold off a ton, but we've now had mechanically driven bounces back into supply, and they rejected in New York. So, I mean, I think at best case, we're probably still looking at a bit longer of chop, especially on these altcoins before we go higher. But even if we are to, I think, begin trending higher, it's just based on the look of these altcoin structures on a higher time frame, it's probably going to have to be a Bitcoin dominance rally. It's just kind of difficult to envision a scenario where Bitcoin is breaking the highs and altcoins would completely be recovered out of their structures. But maybe they do. I kind of think if they are going to be recover out of their structures, Bitcoin needs to be absolutely chatting.
But here's and I agree with altcoins. I won't argue altcoins. That's not at all an argument on my point. I think altcoins can get slaughtered even if we don't violate the low. The biggest point here is don't forget 25K. I feel like this should be a scar in people's brain to not forget what happened here because everybody expected lower. And look at this. Look at this flush right here, Tommy. Look at this flush. Look at this flush. It's the same flush, bro. Like it's literally the same flush. They were just able to violate the low quicker, right? Did they come down a little lower here? Sure. Maybe they dip their toes in, right? Maybe they dip just into 60. What would that mean? And why do I say 60? Because look, this is your lowest wick right here. Running that 59K, like right on the thread, right? I think you're like 59.3. And so maybe they do this to get people super bared up, hang out here for a little bit, and then start doing this. And again, disbelief starts setting in, right? Disbelief. And then all of a sudden, we're at 75K again. And then after that 75K, people are expecting this again, but instead we get this. Because that's exactly what happened here.
I want to get Jackus's thoughts. What do you think about that, Jackus?
About the range here, or
yeah.
in general?
Whatever.
I mean, whatever. I think like the 59K sweep is still a possibility right now and wouldn't invalidate the hard time frame trend. And essentially, currently the D1 structure is broken, but higher time frame we are still within a reaccumulation. And to be honest, I wouldn't be too much worried about Bitcoin, because like Bitcoin had a the world major acceptance right now in this cycle. So I wouldn't worry that much about BTC is poised to go just way higher. And few facts is that we never had a market cycle top when Bitcoin was at its all-time highs, while fresh cycle all-time highs where alts against BTC have been at their cycle lows. That has never happened before. And I know that like everything happens for the first time sometimes, but like you betting on that is less than 1% probabilities. It's just everyone to his own liking. I just do not see it. So I think there is and whatever metric I look at, I think like BTC alone is safe. The problem is that most people are less than 10% of their holdings into Bitcoin. So they are not like really caring what BTC do much, apart from the fact that they look it as a kind of like directionality bias, right? So we should probably differentiate between BTC and alts. So again, BTC in my opinion is relatively safe. Even if it sweeps 59K, it's all good. It could even come, to be honest, it could even come back. What is it like? 52K, and it would still be pretty decent. The weekly structure there is unchallenged. So in all of those regards, BTC is very bullish, and further upside is to be expected for it. Even if you can stomach the lock, and I suppose anyone that's in Bitcoin itself, right? They wouldn't even mind if BTC were to drop to 52K, in that regard. I think that's not a volatility that would scare some Bitcoiners off, to be honest, because that's like minus 17% from here, so Bitcoiners are used to this. And with regards to that, I think that's okay. I do not think we are out of the woods yet, and I think that line is a meme itself, but we are not out of the woods just here locally, I think. But just zooming in on the price, I think BTC at minimum goes above 68K and reaches like 69.5. Because if I look at the price, we had the scare off, and if you were to zoom in on H4, everyone here is looking to short with stops right above 68K. That's like what the herd would be doing right now. So I think even if we were to poise to go lower on BTC, it wouldn't happen unless BTC goes higher first here. So that's kind of my take regarding BTC.
I mean, you also have a FEG up here at 64 too. I mean, higher than 60, 68. It's roughly between like 70 and 69. I mean, realistically, what I was looking for here, just on LTF, was a fill back up to 67.5, somewhere in there, and then from there they could drag this back out again, and then maybe sweep again later.
Exactly. That's my take as well here. When I said 68K is where people have their stops. But when they sweep them, they usually would go to fill that FVG and retest the prior supply there on the lower time frame. So, but looking at the daily, the market structure is broken, and locally, but higher time frame, we are still within a range, and that's important to like. This is the kind of context that people often is hard to read, right? And So regarding BTC again, as he pointed out, Will, Hong Kong accepted or started the spot Bitcoin ETF. The US has started the spot Bitcoin ETF, and these flows will just continue to grow over time. You can have a shorter term pause on that, but longer term, again, we are in the decade of early adopters. Early majority, and that's not going away. People are not purchasing these ETFs to hold them for months. So I wouldn't worry, like I wouldn't worry really about BTC too much itself.
Yeah, the thing is here for me is like, and I know it's different for everybody else because they're like, oh, structure has been broken, and it has on these time frames. But this is the exact move I was looking for. Like, not saying
it was broken, but it's still within a range, and that's important to acknowledge.
Yes,
the range
exactly.
hasn't been broken, right? And again, I think anyone will be looking to short here within the range, but it's important to understand that we are in the range, and in the range you cannot be directionality trading either in a short or long side. So I think again, 70, 68K to take the stops, and then 69.5 to 70.5 is the area to kind of look for rejection.
Yeah, and if you look here, 70.5 is the 0.76. So like a lot of this is exactly what you said. You're trading a range, so really you could throw a fib on your range and just play the high-low range. You would never short below the 50. It makes no logical sense to short below the 50. If you're going to short, you need to short towards the high end of the range because you have conviction that the range is going to continue to play out and that you're going to shoot for the bottom of the range again, right? That's what range. This is essentially range trading 101 for everybody. Like, if you're looking to play this, you're only playing it as a range, whether you're shorting or longing, which means your RR here from top to bottom is very little in comparison to your long RR from here to here, right? So long RR here is a lot more fruitful than short RR here. Now, some people may say, well, if it breaks my short RR, look, until it's violated, you have no reason to even say if it breaks. If is a feeling, right? Did it is an actual fact. And that's where a lot of people have a hard time differentiating to go off of feelings or facts. Facts are the range is held. So facts are I'm at the low end of the range. My better RR trade is to go long. And I don't, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to anybody. Like I just like this is just the way my brain registers this. You can go ahead, Jack. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I wouldn't definitely be shorting BTC here. And usually it's, after the first flush, the big scary flush, what people look to do is like, yeah, the trend has changed and I'm going to short the first retest. And the first retest usually fails,
Yeah, exactly. Like even if this is going to flush, I think what they'll do, because everybody's scared here, right? Everybody. You can see it across the timeline. Everybody's scared here. So I think even if they're going to flush lower, what they're going to do is they're going to build confidence first and then take it all away.
Yeah, I'm not sure that people are scared over BTC again. I think it's important to differentiate because BTC is looking fairly well. Where people are scared a lot are alts right now. Like people are heavily scared there, in my opinion. But BTC, it's been ranging fairly well. So yeah, I wouldn't probably be looking too long here BTC. That's fair to say as well, right now. But I wouldn't short here either. It's kind of like it's in the middle of a range and not really interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that thesis either. Like when you're sitting at your 50 or anywhere near your 50, long and or shorting is kind of, doesn't make any sense. I did, basically take some pokes at 61.5, so I'm at the low, And I'm going to hold those positions because I'm expecting this to go to at least 67.5, if not 69. And so I'm going to take this position all the way up there, and then I'll probably cut the position and go back to spot because my RR trade here is much better than everybody else's. Where would I cut? Oh, I just cut below the range. Like if I end up jacked, I end up jacked. So if we break this range right here, again, our upside trade here, it's not a bad return, right? It's a 5.7.
Yeah, that's it. If I really look at the total market cap, the chart is absolutely phenomenal. Can we put in a total market cap chart?
Yeah, Tucker, can you take this back over? I know you are the finesser.
Total.
Yeah, and if we were to, so first of all, even if you look at the daily here, that's really just kind of like ABC correction. It's not a bear market. It's just you can see clearly that the leg started at around 1.9T, went higher, and this is just like on the daily, you can see the structure is paused, but on the hard time frame, if you were to put in the weekly Tucker, you'll see it's just a friendly retest. It's a bull market retest. The structure is clearly bullish here. So in that regard, I'm not scared the market cycle top is in at all. And I think we need to appreciate the fact that DXY has been pulling the shorter term strengths. I still think that DXY heads way lower, but shorter term it's broken to the upside, which is causing these big pullbacks, in my opinion. And I'm not like gonna say that that's because of the war, right? It's all kind of aligned. The markets are forward looking and all of that, but yeah, DXY is showing locally the strengths, and that's kind of showing in the charts right now. But I think it's only temporary strength for the dollar index, and I think it's temporary weakness for the crypto market. But essentially, these two will turn around.
Oof. Yeah,
That's going to be double top within that range, or it's going to get a dollar wrecking ball crew is going to be back. It's my least favorite time. We have to bull post the dollar.
Oh yeah, President Biden is back.
He heard us talking about the dollar. He had to.
Look, you guys don't talk about my printed piece of paper like that, okay? Yeah, I understand the logic.
Listen,
here.
the only time for which DXY is staying strong is as long as there are the adversary fears and as long as Fed remains unpaused. The moment, as long as Fed remains paused, right? The moment Fed starts to drop the rates and the fears are gone, I just cannot see DXY to stay higher. I just do not. But shorter term, it's
like the moment they start.
Well,
that sounds more like President Biden.
Yeah, it does. Well,
what happened there?
I think we need a new Mr. President. He has fallen.
Yeah.
That heard like he smashed his headphones or something. Yeah, no.
Tucker, what's your take on the current framework of markets that we're seeing right now? I saw somebody in the comments asking for your take. Figured I'd put you on the spot.
Yeah. Good old pit box. I mean, I think
my bad.
Oh, what happened, Will? What happened?
I got
He's
mad and I
back.
threw my. No, I'm just joking. My thing
That's what
connected
it
to
sounded
my,
like. It sounded like you dropped your ice cream and got upset.
it connected to my head, my headphones
Mm.
that were in my pocket. By the way, that were in my pocket.
Oh, nice. Let's see.
The FBI
I mean,
came in. They tried to stop me.
bro, look at
And you told them to buy the dip.
look at
they
historical.
turned around and started the printer.
Look at historical volatility around the all-time high, guys. Okay. I mean, the structure looks okay. It looks all right. It doesn't look fantastic by any means, but the guy, what's his name? Neste posted a great one. I think you either I think honestly, I think your RR here is still decent. I think your downside is maximum, like somewhere within this FVG, right here, probably the midpoint, which would line up with the wick, which would be 59. I think that's probably about your maximum downside. Now I know the pi cycle MA is at like 57, somewhere in there. I mean, 59, 57. It's kind of whatever. I think that's probably your max downside, though. If we are still in a bull market, right? Like that has to be the underlying assumption. I mean, I can't stress enough how critical this area is for Bitcoin, right? Like, I mean, you could set something up, right? You could set something up, but I think you obviously have super, super easy invalidation on the other side. Like stupidly easy invalidation. So I don't know. I mean, I think however it reacts out of this zone is going to be like if we get that or if we get that. That's really like your two options. Like I don't think we're going to get a ton of sideways like in here, you know what I mean? Like a decision needs to be made somewhat soon, I think, if we're gonna, because if we do go down and we lose like the broader range, right? Like if we lose like 61 or 60K on like a daily or weekly close, then you start to talk about like, you know, this area, this consolidation, right? So yeah, I mean, in terms of like short-term imminent upside, I think this has to hold. But if not, it's probably going to take some more months. You might start stabbing into some of these FVGs, right? Like this could take a long time, you know, this.
That's what I was saying, Tucker. I was like, the second you violate that low, you're gonna sit
Yeah.
there and hover for a
It could take a
long time.
while. It could take
If we do have that sort of scenario, that's not any bullish for altcoins, though. I mean, they're bleeding.
Everything's getting wrecked, is what's happening at that point.
No, yeah, that's Bitcoin dominance, like bonanza is what that would be. Like, I guess we did tap 57.
60%, boys, 60% on Bitcoin dominance.
Jesus Christ, that's high, bro.
But that's why I said you can't do it, man.
The cycle. Maybe it's not a requisite, but like, I mean, people always lose the what's the saying? They miss the forest through the trees, where Bitcoin dominance going higher is ultimately bullish. But
well, yeah,
it sucks when Bitcoin dominance is spiking on a day where your altcoins are literally going down like 25 to 40% in daily candle.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Like, what do you think Bitcoin dominance going higher in a local downtrend does to something like ordinals?
I actually I kind of think, I mean, if Bitcoin USD goes lower, we're going to have an ordinal summer, like 100%. I have honestly some really high conviction that they'd get hit first. Like study the leaders from NFT summer, because Bored Apes launched in May they launched in May or April of the year that like the spring that we crashed, May 2021. And I think at one point they were down like probably 80%. But as you can see, weeks later, or not even a week later, like within a day, they were back at their, initial price. And then NFTs as a whole, I mean, they were just strong all summer. And I think that's what, when you have majors get repriced lower, typically people gravitate back towards JPEGs. We saw the same thing in 2022 after Bitcoin found that first low. I think it was in like February of 2022. So in both of those instances, you had NFTs sell off with the broader market as an altcoin, but then after that happened, you saw a huge speculation shift to those ecosystems and into NFTs. Fine art, Tucker, we've been talking about this. We've been talking about this in the Discord. People, in times of uncertainty, people will move towards fine art as a storage of value. That's not my quote. That's a GCR quote that I stole from like 2021. And I just think Bitcoin's marked up so much that if we do see a pullback on it and consolidation, you probably will see like an ordinal summer in the same way that we saw an NFT summer on ETH in 2021.
Howdy, you hooligans.
Look who decided to join.
Who is here?
At the nick of time. Right at the nick of time. How's everyone doing? What's going on, guys?
Pretty
We're
good.
live.
How are you?
How am I, dude? I am now going to be more relentless and savage on taking profits, not partial profits. I mean full stack G profits, just like I was in Q4 and in early Q1. I will not go through this again. I can promise you that. But yeah, dude, disastrous for on-chain stuff, right? But I noticed that centralized exchange alts are leading the way. I guess that's like a pretty bullish sign that we've wiped out a lot of the short-term froth, right? A lot of the stuff that was going on Solana isn't happening anymore. Solana went down to 107. 107, dude. Celestia went down to $7. Dime went so low that the founder made a coping post talking about price. It was that bad. And we also had like, a few meme coins that I've been meaning to get into, like Mu. I think Mu went down to like 100 mil, and then it got listed on OKX and it pulled off a 6x. So I wasn't able to join in on that. It just pumped severely off of the low. Ondo, oh gosh, apologies for that.
Here we go.
Ondo just severely ripped face as well, but I sold that a little while back. But yeah, man, I like what I see. Centralized exchanges leading the way and all that stuff, and eventually that trickles down to things on chain, right? So I know ETH BTC made a new low, right? And usually, like whenever ETH BTC has made a new low, going into the halving, alts tend to do well like a couple of weeks after that, right? So, I think right after the halving, within 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to have that crazy alt season, right? And I mean real alt season where Bitcoin dominance actually, depreciates and not does a stair step up, or you have to like do PvP around certain narratives, right? So everyone's a genius soon, coming this summer to a theater near you.
I kind of tend to agree, Bobby. And I like how you mentioned the partial profit, not partial profit.
No, full profits. I mean, full profits, dude. I was a relentless savage, dude. Full stacking, say, Tia, Neon, rotating from position to position. Like, I think this bull market is still going to have some elements of 2021 where you're going to have to rotate. And I think this dip that we had was probably the most bullish dip because it kind of signified that like this cycle is not going to be any different time-wise. Absolutely not. I don't think we peak this year. I still don't believe that whatsoever. At all. I think the top is going to be in 2025, late 2025, and it is what it is, right? And I know like a bunch of people are scared about like war and all that stuff. And I think there are more things to worry about if like that stuff actually happens than markets, right? But we'll take it year by year, right? But usually like when those things happen and there tends to be a crash in the market,
They're actually bullish for market wars.
Yeah, except the
clarity is bullish. The clarity or intervention is going to be bullish. It's just a matter of how
you already got the knee-jerk
how do they
reaction.
let things go before they step in or provide that clarity.
Yeah. Goku XBT, we hit all-time high pre-halving. Yeah, we did, but we're still below it. Like right now, we hit an all-time high, but it wasn't with gusto. It wasn't like we hit 80K plus. It was just like a little deviation above 69K, and that's it. ETH below all-time high, total 3 below all-time high. Too many things below all-time high for me to believe that this cycle is any different. And if you even go ahead.
I mean, it's not delusion to think we don't talk this here, because it's important to navigate the market, month to month, year to year. What if, like, let's say, we spend here the next 4 months in this range, and maybe it goes like where we dip like sub 59K, maybe we break the all-time high slightly again, then drop back into the range, and we spend the next 4 months ranging. If that's to happen, I do not see us stopping this year just yet, for example. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, we hit the new all-time highs pre-halving. But that said, what matters is not like the halving timing. What matters is how exactly we are moving around. We are moving around these prices. So I highly recommend everyone to navigate the market level by level, structures by structure, reaccumulation by reaccumulation, rather than thinking like, yeah, we hit new all-time high pre-halving, that means we are topping it in the next few months, because that may or may not be the case, and it depends on lots of factors, right?
I honestly don't care at all about the volatility. Doesn't bother me a bit. You can take my bags all the way down to $1, and I'm okay with it. Like, I know I can 10x up from there because I got $10 in my bank account. So either way, it works out for me. Like, I don't even know why people even worry about volatility. Like, volatility, it's a factor of markets, a part of markets. Just deal with it. It is what it is. I mean, I dialed in more this week. I mean, I'm well in, well over 6 figures in. I don't, and people are sitting here crying about their 15K they've got invested. It's mind-boggling. The market is what it is. It's provided it's low, it's provided it's high. It's showing you where the support and resistance is. Play the support and resistance. When violated, then you can kind of readjust your strategy. Like I haven't sold an entire bag the entire cycle. I've sold 75% of my bags, like as in like 75% of 100%, but I've never sold 100% of my bags because I'm not gonna be that person that's sitting there like, oh, well, even if I would have held 10% of my bag, I could have been a millionaire if I wasn't stupid and just tried to sell everything because I was scared and I got a 5x out of the bag.
Choose rich, man. Right?
Choose rich, man. I mean,
that's what it is, bro. Like I made it in 2021 because of this thought process.
Look. So Goku said we don't sit in price ranges for long in a bull. I agree. 2 months is not that long. 68 days is not that long, right?
Study
that's how long
25K to 30K.
Yeah, that's how long we sat from 40 to 48, 68 days. If we do the same thing, that's May 6th. All right. That's kind of been the thesis that April's going to be a chop fest and that you should not capitulate good spot bags on the first red candle, right? Like, I don't know. I think you probably put in one good red monthly and then you just keep sending it. Like, I don't,
Yeah,
that's exactly my thoughts.
I think so. I think that's the probable case too. But what example people are, for example, not entertaining the idea, because I think BTC really stays strong for especially this decade when you just get the early majority cycle. when you get the commodity cycle. What if, for example, BTC goes from here? It probably prints red April candle, and then what if it rips to 90K, 100K, and then goes to a slow kind of, I wouldn't call it a bear market, but like prolonged pullback, from 100K to retest the 70K cluster. What if that happens over the next 4 or 5 months after it? And that's kind of like when you have the recession fears, you have the war fears, and all of that. And while many would be expecting some crazy bear market, the chart isn't telling me that we are to go to some crazy bear market. So even if that were to happen, because look at what happened to gold in 2008. That's before BTC was existing, and during 2008 the market went, the gold, and that was after the gold spot ETF, right? And gold was in a bull market. It broke above prior all-time highs, and then what happened was 08 came, and it created a pretty wild pullback for what is worse, right? 08, yeah, exactly that. It created a pullback, retested its prior structure, and then continued higher. And this can easily happen, even if there will be some scares, so
That'd be wild.
Okay,
Altcoins
but
would go to the gulag in that scenario. That's what, like 50, 52K equivalent.
we keep talking about downside and altcoins and possibilities. What would be the strategy that people would use if they think any of this stuff's a possibility?
Sell it all. They'd
Okay,
sell it.
there's one. What's another strategy any of you guys?
listen, there's only one strategy, and that is to sell everything when Max goes to Florida.
No, that's
true.
real.
Max goes to Florida. Sell it
Well,
all.
you want to know something, man. The last 2 trips that the guys have taken, right, to Kansas and to Denver, we pumped severely. So
Even though people thought it was going to be a sell-off.
in October and in late February.
So Florida is exit all markets, and Kansas is pump all markets.
No,
Yeah.
when the team travels. So Haggard, we're gonna need to check the books, man. And when's the next
Set up a
field
travel.
trip? When's the next field trip, man?
What is consensus?
In like 4 weeks. No, 5 weeks. Yeah. It's May 29th through the 31st.
Should we save the market?
We should.
Okay.
We should
Guys,
run it back with another full week of shenanigans.
I just want to say that 60 to 80 days range periods or pullbacks are totally normal in a bull market. Just study 2017,
And that was a beautiful market, man. You can just ape anything in 2017 and be up a ton. But now you have to join the Telegram. You got to join the Discord. You got to check Twitter. If a certain guy is tweeting about it, you have to sell. It's a bit too much, man.
And it's all connected to the bots. The bots are faster than your weekend, as they say.
And
my favorite is always when a sell-off occurred like 20 minutes ago and you have people desperately trying to exit on-chain bags that aren't even correlated to the assets that sold off.
Yeah. Using Solana when it's actually like busy is probably the worst experience ever.
Terrible, man. Terrible experience.
Yeah.
So you're saying
I told him the other day we were trying to buy Jill Bowden and we literally couldn't do it because Sol was so congested.
Yeah, it's like Injective also, man. Using Injective is like the worst thing ever. I was using Injective in December. It just goes back to like, doesn't really matter if people use a thing. It's like if there's a centralized exchange where you can buy and sell, that's perfect. And I think at the top of the market, a lot of holders aren't going to be able to sell on time because it's going to be so congested that even centralized exchanges are going to go down, and that happens with every bull market, right? So at some point, it's actually going to be dollar cost average out. And I think if you're like new, you probably have like 10 months to dollar cost average in before dollar cost average out begins. So yeah. See the comments here. Let's see. Most of it is all vaporware. Yeah, it is, man. When did you guys first start buying crypto? My first buy was on like, I think it was like December 17th, 2017, right around there.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, the top, like the actual top. But I had bought an ETH as well, and ETH did like a 3x, and I remember like rotating that into some newer names after ETH had topped, like OneChain and Ontology, and I gave all of those gains back in the summertime, and then started playing on KuCoin, and I basically gave everything back. I was like by the end of the year, I was like minus 60-70% by the end of 2018. But I mean, Bitcoin then went to like 3,000. So it gave me a fresh, clean slate, right? Because like I was working like 2 jobs by that point. So
You want to see where I first bought Wabi? It was Litecoin, and it was right here. And I rode it up, and then I rode it back down.
Bro, who buys
goes.
Litecoin?
I had a friend
Why
that
would
did
you
that.
ever buy Litecoin?
Because of the
It was-
unit bias, Will. Because of the unit bias.
No, it was
There was only
different, Will, back
Bitcoin
then.
back then. That's
No,
it.
no. But back then, Litecoin was heavy. Like
Yeah.
the and you had Charlie, which was a big figure, which was
Litecoin was
like
cool, man. Litecoin was
yeah,
cool.
exactly. Like you had Charlie Lee, who was like Doc One back then, basically, and he dumped his entire bag at the top. By the way.
I know he
Like-
was like the
Yeah.
definition of that, like, good luck, I sold it all me.
I never believed in Litecoin. That's the point. I never believed in it. Why did I never believe in it? Because I always knew it was fucking vaporware. That was basically a fork of Bitcoin. Everybody knew that, but everybody wanted to claim, oh, Litecoin's the future. Litecoin, yeah. Now look at Litecoin. Look at Litecoin. I'd rather buy Dogecoin.
Now look at this.
Now listen,
This is
Will.
the real
Back
chart.
then, Litecoin actually made sense because at some point
I was here back then. I'm just saying, like, I never bid it. I never liked Litecoin.
Well, then you would know that the fees on Bitcoin were very expensive back then, and Litecoin, as you said, is a like fork of BTC, with slight changes. And what Litecoin offered you is that you could have paid with less money, basically, way lesser fees for LTC. And there was also the big silver kind of narrative around it. So it made sense to speculate on it back then, but essentially longer term, it doesn't make sense. And this chart is very valid because it's not the same as physical gold and silver, because it's way harder to devise gold into little pieces, but with BTC you can just easily split BTC into little satoshis. So essentially, hey, King Bobby is using my avatar from the other day.
You want to know what the best drink is, bud? This is the best drink on the planet, right here.
Oh my god,
Oh
acai.
Yeah,
bro.
I
You
know
going to
you saw,
Starbucks next, Wabi?
you saw a lot of that at Denver, brother.
Yeah.
Acai, man.
You going to Starbucks next?
Starbucks, so I've got a call in like 10 minutes. So maybe after that call, actually that does sound like a good idea.
Really, Starbucks? Really?
Yeah, man. But you want to know what's crazy, dude? Like, I looked at some video from the 90s, and the average like salary back then was like 40,000, right? Starbucks, like for like a large drink or whatever, was $2. Gas was $1. Rent on average was like 600, 500 bucks. That's basically the equivalent of everybody in the United States. Well, the median average income for the United States being like almost 200,000. That's crazy, man. So it's like if you're a young man trying to come up, trying to reach escape velocity, there's no other market like crypto to escape velocity. There's really no other market because you're not going to make great gains on Apple or any of like the mega cap tech stocks.
That's
like,
the power of leverage, Wabi.
Nah, man.
He's trolling you. But he's trolling. But
Those the
I,
options
I,
market kids on TikTok, man. The kids that
I
trade
thought
the options on TikTok with broccoli style haircuts.
I totally agree with Bobby that every young people, and I absolutely hate it when boomers are like trying to play the smartest because they do not understand today's world at all, and the young people simply cannot escape the matrix at all. Like they don't have anything, they cannot afford anything, not even the freaking housing, and really crypto is like their only way to kind of try to make it out of it, right? As fucked up as it is. But that's how it is nowadays. So, I'm bullish on people's gambling.
Yeah.
Guys,
In crypto
Sato
market.
is flipped short. He's flipped short, guys.
No, we're good then.
Liquidation
good.
at 65K.
Yeah,
What a degen.
send it.
What a degen, man. We'll probably tag that on this daily candle.
For sure. Yeah, we got to hold this, man. We got to hold it. I'll tell you what. Both these lines. I mean, this is important. This is important. Which has been our lows. So that's nice. But short term, this has to hold, man. We have to hold this. We're not playing around here. Yeah.
What's interesting is that ETH is holding right now better.
Yeah, ETH BTC is green.
I would expect today ETH would be weaker, or like on this little drop.
Sol is weak, bro. Jeez.
I do think we're at a point, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier on the stream, where I mean the majority of the passive open interest on altcoins has already been flushed. So if you have more forced selling, like you're not going to have it on altcoins to the same degree that it was, the weakness against Bitcoin. That is, they'll be moving. If we do sell off more, they'd probably move more so in tandem with slight outperformance from Bitcoin. We saw that too with SBB.
This chart is so bullish, man. It's so bullish. I can't. This is literally. I mean, what are we talking about here, Tommy? This structure is just beautiful.
Dude, that's a storage of value right there.
That is storage of value. Yeah, that is.
I told you guys it would roll down. It rolled right into the range too.
There were like a handful of assets that said what dip.
Yeah.
Those assets.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, that Coinbase listing of Pepe on Thursday?
Oh God, man, they massacred that damn thing.
I was legit saying on the show that that's probably a listing to them, especially when it's futures, and it was exactly there and just massacred. But it was obviously the whole market, but like they so often do this, whether it's Binance or Coinbase, right? Because they are the two biggest, and they did the same with Pepe at the top. Like they launched Bitcoin futures for Pepe, and I think spot trading too at the same time, and it was the exact top. And for it was the same for Coinbase now. It's fucking crazy.
mean, dude.
It's
That's
like
a
they
ton
list
and
it
a
and then they
half.
just market dump it on everybody. That's what they do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
just long the
exactly.
GP with a stop under the fucking 100 on the 4 hour. Light work. Light work. Where's the 1618? Oh, I gotta flip this. Doesn't matter. Higher.
I mean, they're
Bro, I
definitely
need
gonna
so much
that.
protein. Holy shit.
They're gonna send it.
I think Bitcoin is already, sweeping here some lows or highs. Doesn't matter because again, we are in a range. In a range, the market will be taking highs and lows, and the directionality trades don't make sense in a range. You just need to be buying. You just want to be kind of bullish on the market sweeping the lows and highs. And then if you want to play anything, that's the extremes of the range. But don't play directionality trades in a range. I
Look,
learned a hard lesson there.
I think if you're sitting here and you're like, should I short here? You should go pour yourself a glass of milk. All right, because vitamin C will make your bones stronger. Have some protein. Protein will not only increase your muscle mass, but it'll increase your testosterone a little bit. And then look at the charts and suck it up. That's basically it. Stop being a baby about volatility. One of my portfolios, one wallet, was 113K yesterday. It's 85 today. You think I care? No. Didn't sell a thing.
Wait, Wabi, what did you hear his space?
Yeah, with Thicky. He is damn good when it comes to like local tops. And yeah, like I like to speak to individuals that come from both sides of the camp, right? Guys like Thicky, Trader XO, because they know how to preserve capital. So Thicky, he never has like one full direction, right? He's a trader at heart. So, you can call him a flip flop or whatever, but when it comes to like extreme points where things are going to take a turn, even for the short term, he's pretty good at it. So his whole thing is like the altcoin market is having so much supply come out with all these unlocks and all these releases and all that stuff that there's not really enough liquidity right now to support these new launches. And an example that he gave was like, all right, say like a new project that's like really hyped comes out next week, right? Well, in order to support, that launch where, the FDV can be like 5 bill, circulating market cap can be like 500 million, people are going to have to sell whatever they have in order to support that launch, right? Because these high valuations, they need to be held up with liquidity. And right now, it's still very much, PvP, right? So an example would be like Athena, right? When that project came out, there was probably a lot of people that had to sell some of their alts or some of their ETH or Bitcoin to support that, right? And so, you had Athena run up like a 3x. And while Athena was running, you can tell that a lot of altcoins at that time were suffering. Tia was suffering, Ondo was suffering, Say was suffering. So it's like there's not enough safe havens right now, right? It's still like everyone's going to be trading the same tickers, right? So that's what he means by that. And I think his thing right now over the next few weeks is like a lot of alts are still going to be suffering against BTC, and yeah, that's his whole thing. It's more on like the alt space, and for BTC, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure what his whole thing is, but I know I know like for this year he expects like 80K, 82K to be like to be the ceiling. So yeah.
So basically, it's saying don't buy new launches, stay in your old ones. Got it.
No, he didn't say that. That's not what I
That's
just
what you just said. That's what you just. You said there's no liquidity to support new launches.
No, like if there's a new launch, right, in order to support that, you would have to sell off like your
And
current.
nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. If you look on chain, theoretically, nobody is doing that. Nobody's selling off their current bags to go and support some other chain or some new launch. So if what he's saying is theoretically correct, it would mean that in that case, don't buy any new launches. But new launches are still, in some cases, not all, probably not most, but in some cases are thriving. And I think like it's a thought, but it's more of a thesis than something that's trackable, right? Inflows have still been steady. Inflows have continued to move into the market. You can see it day in and day out. You can see USDT still continuing to travel down, which means you're seeing liquidity come off the table still into the market. And there's still a ton of supply on stablecoins. So like I don't know. I don't know what yeah, we're not in a raging part of the bull market, but we are in a stable part of the bull market. And stable means you can buy with ease and just hold through the volatility. At least my thoughts on Thicky. Like I've seen Thicky too. Like he at times he's on point, other times he's kind of a little bit here and there. But like everybody is at times, even me. Like even sometimes I'm here and there. But I try to stay more towards like the directionality of the market. And I feel like people are acting like we're pre-halving when in reality we're after the halving now. We are in the halving. But pre-halving is the atypical dump. And I think if people's best case for a dump scenario is literally one more month, and if you don't get a dump in another month, you're going straight up. And we talked about the slip and slide this morning.
Barry is nuking us. I swear to God, bro.
No, it's going to be all right.
What are we at?
Is it
64
even
right
Barry
now?
though? Like, we always attribute a narrative to why we're selling off when, people want to attribute it to the war. They want to call it
Yeah.
this.
Thank you, Tommy.
But
Thank you for pointing it
we
out.
lost momentum in the range. We are currently ranging. If we break below, then, we can say that we're distributing in hindsight. But, I mean, if you are concerned, I agree with Will. The time to be at least like selling bags is either at 75K at the range highs, or if we break down from this range, in my opinion.
There you go. That's the logic I'm trying to tell people. Like thank you, Shane. Will is an idiot. Please don't follow her. Well, too bad I'm not a her. All right. My name is Will. And I appreciate your commentary. I'm sure you made it past the 5th grade.
They thought you were
Anyways,
Caroline, brother.
moving forward from the people who made it to the spelling bee in the 5th grade, basically markets are bottomed, right? Like until you get a violation of the low, I think the aptitude of coming in and stating that there's a theoretical breakdown, I think you need to let price prove itself first. And so you keep your head in the game until price tells you different. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Tommy?
No, I mean, I think for me, I agree with you. It's like you need to let price communicate more than the news. The thing that concerns me the most is not that price is trading lower. It's how price traded lower on altcoins over the weekend in a way that we completely ignored support and resistance levels and literally just knifed through levels like as if they weren't even there, man. That behavior felt different to me than what we're used to seeing in these trends. So I'm personally a little bit more cautious at this range low than maybe I should be. But yeah, I mean, I just think the downside risk here is still pretty strong. And we did see like some very extreme behavior that I have to assume is tied to some of the liquidity constraints that we've been talking about that are happening in April, right? Like you can meme about the reverse repo market. I'm sure that's playing a role in it though. And I've also mentioned TLT going lower plays a role in that as well. So, I mean, it's not a surprise to see altcoins nuking. I just think the fashion and the way that they nuked, it was a little bit different than, I think what we've seen throughout this bullish trend so far.
Yeah,
I mean, as long as 61K is holding, I wouldn't even worry about BTC here. I think it goes higher to the levels we discussed earlier, and just keeps on ranging. So do not get excited and do not panic at range lows, and we are not even at range lows right now. Do not get excited if we start moving above 69K. Essentially none of these matters within the range.
I agree. This kind of reminds me honestly of what we saw like during SVB, which ironically was during a similar time of the year, like March and April. I imagine probably similar undercurrents kind of impacting that. But the thing that we saw with Bitcoin and alts was, I mean, alts just bled and bled and bled until Bitcoin broke the range. And then I think people were expecting alts to giga nuke that much harder. But at that point, Bitcoin actually led the downside because it's like it'd been propped up by all the altcoin liquidity and open interest otherwise. So maybe we do see some sort of like Bitcoin led leg down. That is like the final, capitulatory bottom within, the context of this little move, because we did see that with SVB. We came down into like 19.5K. That was, I think, a lot lower than most people, including myself, expected to trade. And then within like a week, we were back above those prices. So I could absolutely see something like that play out. You do a little fishing for Bitcoin open interest below the range. U-turns out of it, whatever you want to call it. But from the standpoint that like alts have led the downside before a range break, it feels somewhat similar to me in that regard.
Yeah,
We're
but
gonna need this. No. Hang on. Tyrell brings up a good point. The 3-day, body close range doesn't look that good, bro. We gotta close above here. I'm not even. Look at that shit. What are we talking about?
The 5-day, the 4.5-day, the 25-day. Like, let's stick to the standard. The 1 day, the weekly, the monthly. All of those are intact. Okay. We can adjust the EMAs and the MAs to fit what we want it to say too. But I think too many people do that. Just stick to the standard. Let the standard dictate the price range. And the standard is saying that we are within range.
We got
by
2
body
days.
candle.
We got 2 days left.
I'm
We
not
can
the
close
2
above
days ain't
66.
standard. It's 1 day, weekly, monthly.
I'm a fan of the 3-day, bro. I'm a fan of the
I mean,
3-day.
some people use it. I'm just saying, like, everybody doesn't use it. Again, that makes it an anomaly more than it does a standard.
But have you checked
And
the 10-day alpha, Will?
no, I don't. I stick to the normals. I did want to point out one thing though. Like, a lot of people are so focused on dollar value rather than how much more coin I can get per dollar value. And when you're on the upside of the market, or the market going into a secular bull run, you're basically looking for coins. How much more coin can I get? How much more token can I get? Versus like how much the dollar value is until the bull market hits. So when you see something like Solana go to $100, you're like, well, it'll probably rebalance to 200. It's time to load up on Solana and throw it on some beta, right? At that point, and you're getting better value. And a lot of people aren't understanding that. They're looking at this like this is some kind of issue because dollar value has dropped. What is the dollar? The dollar is the thing you're trying not to be in. So when you get better dollar value of your asset, it's a point of contingence to be like, okay, I need to be looking at dialing into this better dollar value, and stop looking at this like, hey, my risk value is too high. Because do you think? Let me ask you a question, Tucker. Do you think Solana is going to $50 anytime soon?
No.
Okay. Do you think Solana is going to $75 anytime soon?
No.
Okay. So since you don't think those two things, do you think Solana at $107 was a hell of a value?
Over a multi-month year time horizon, yeah, definitely.
So would it not be of interest for you to buy in that range, knowing what your multi-month year, whatever, thesis you're going by is going to play out? Would it make sense to you to not buy in that range because you were fearful of some other event? And you just told me it won't go to 75 or 50. So what is the other event going to do to your Solana at that point?
No,
At
yeah,
170?
I'm not saying 110 or whatever wasn't a good buy. Just even the volume range.
Yeah,
looks
and
rough.
yeah, well, that's the point I'm getting to. Some of these things have went so freaking low in value that people are still expecting lower. And we just talked about it. I just asked you, do you think it can go lower? And you told me no. So what are we even talking about for drop here? What are we talking about?
No,
Beta?
just because I said it's not going to 50 doesn't mean I don't think it can go lower from 150.
No. Okay, we could say it can go lower from 150, but if you're getting a value range of 5% better, is it really that big of a deal if you think that it's going to go to 500 or 1,000?
No.
Okay, that's the point I want to get. Like, this is always the context I'm trying to tell people. Like, you have to think, just stop. Like, being greedy for downside is just as bad as being greedy for upside. Greed is greed. Like, greed, it comes in when you're trying to bid for lower, and it comes in when you're trying to bid for higher. It's what gets you wrecked in these markets.
Bitcoin over SPX is interesting. Looks a little bit better, honestly.
I think the better value here, in most cases, maybe we start doing this, is looking at all these valuations against Bitcoin versus dollar. Does that make sense?
Huh?
I said I think the better valuation here is to always look at these more at Bitcoin versus our asset than dollar versus our asset.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we can find the justification within Bitcoin to asset at that point, then we can, find out, is it a good place to be buying?
Oof.
The curve situation. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I did. I'll be honest. I did think about the curve situation over the weekend because I have been monitoring the chart, and it did almost make like new all-time lows. I mean, the chart looks utterly horrendous. If Bitcoin does go lower, curve probably goes to zero finally. But I don't. I mean, if his liquidation price is, I mean, I don't really know what it is. I haven't really been tracking like the situation with Michael, although I did see that it came up again over the weekend.
We can see you. Oh, go ahead.
But yeah, man. I mean, curve looks utterly horrendous. If it doesn't bottom here, then it is probably going to zero. Yeah.
DFU.
Ideally it doesn't though, because that's probably. I mean, if you do have curve go to zero, I'd be like slamming whatever price ETH is at. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
I love the people in the comments. You don't support my thesis, so you suck. You don't support my thesis, so you're annoying. The 3-day is a great chart, guys. It's amazing.
The 3-day, I will defend the 3-day.
I'm going to get upset, guys. Let me go drink my milk, my soy milk. Jesus,
God,
people.
chart looks
You guys need to like literally just like go to the gym or something. Go outside and run. Just go out, study running. Drink some milk.
Running.
Why does that chart look like it's about to Bitcoin 6K drop to zero?
Like do one of these.
Do I think there's systemic risk there? I mean, probably. There's a lot of like when we talk about passive leverage, that's like the definition of old ancient passive leverage on ETH, but
yeah,
we won't know the extent of it unless it actually happens. So I'm not gonna worry about it until it does. But I would say if it does happen, like you get curve smashing below this level, you'll probably see a bunch of people start talking about it, and ETH USD would obviously feel it a lot. But as I said, whenever that's over, that's like That's your true ETH capitulation if you got it. Like ETH generational bottom against Bitcoin. For me, in that scenario.
Goku, go look at my time frame on my Twitter. I'm 255, bro. Keep talking.
Well,
I'm doing legs today. I'm about to actually do legs here in probably like 10
I
or
did legs
15.
a couple days ago. I'm doing upper today.
Never trust anyone who doesn't train their legs, man. That's real. But
it's true.
I'm gonna have to run, or I'm not gonna have to run here. But I think this is a good spot for the show to wrap things up. I got my cat going absolutely bonkers around my apartment for the last like 20 minutes. But yeah, with that, we are going to be wrapping things up. God, my cat is just going nuts. But either way, guys, we had a great show today. We had appearances from Wabi, the full cast and crew after the weekend. But yeah, guys, I mean, I don't think that this market's going to be giving us any less volatility than what it's provided here over the last few days. Even in the wake of these wipeouts, I know people just want it all to just I mean, people love volatility until that volatility is to the downside. Then it's like, oh no, oh no. A big range for altcoins, man, where you have to watch it return to the lows maybe multiple times before it actually bottoms. But oh my God, yes, I'm absolutely a cat person. Smash reviews. I if you join the Because Bitcoin Discord, you'll get to see pictures of my cat, and I promise he's absolutely adorable. But that's all from us. Like I said, guys, a reminder that Market Check will return for another episode tomorrow morning. Same time as always. That's a typical start time around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are live Monday through Friday, not on the weekends, but Monday through Friday. We are live Monday through Friday at the same time every day. Of course, we also have our flagship show, Market Talk, hosted by King Wabi, who you got to hear from today. Was glad to get him on the show. We always communicate the timing of Market Talk through our Twitter account. So make sure to stay subscribed to that so you know exactly when we are going live, as well as when we announce throughout the day our eventual start time. But yeah, guys, it's always a mouthful, but I'm ready for this week. I am excited I'm hoping some resolution in this market, some clarity, maybe it's up, maybe it's down, but ultimately volatility is why we are here. So I'm looking forward to it. Y'all stay safe, though. That's first and foremost the number one thing. Stay safe. It's a very, these are treacherous conditions when you have realized volatility trading like this on altcoins, on Bitcoin. Like you can have these altcoins that just, they bounce away from their moving average in return, and that's like a 10 to 15% move. So, I mean, leverage guys just get absolutely annihilated in conditions like this. So you really do have to be careful as far as trading goes. But I am starting to ramble now. Giga Chads, we will see you for the afternoon call, but y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. And thank you so much again for tuning in.
Bum, bum.